Yes, it is Lost in Science once more on your radio device. My name is Chris, and this week I am going to be talking about new discoveries regarding everyone's favourite hominin, the Hobbit.
It is
Homo floresiensis.
It is my favourite hominin.
Yeah. There's some new research showing that maybe it did not last as long as we thought it had originally. That's quite interesting for various reasons, but we'll get into that. Claire, what have you got?
I am going to be talking about some new technology that's just come out in the automotive world. It is the new Tesla car.
Ooh. Right.
Yeah, and it's weird because I don't really like cars, but something about this
electric,
one
so it's good.
has just fired me up a little bit.
Great.
Yep.
You may have noticed, other people listening, that you may have noticed a voice there that sounds vaguely familiar. Yes. Welcome back, Manisha.
Yay. Hi.
Yay!
I'm back.
Manisha's been off in the countryside doing science.
Yes, science. Much sciencing, as all sciencers do.
That's right. It's the only excuse we would allow is that she comes back with stories of science. Very special thing today. We're going to interview Manisha about science.
What will she tell us, I wonder? Manisha?
We could ask her that now. Or we could ask her it later during the actual interview.
Yeah, I think I'll hold off a little.
On with the show.
Yes, you are listening to Lost in Science. My name is Chris, and I am talking about everybody's favourite hominin, the Hobbit, Homo floresiensis.
I love it.
Yes, this is not the Tolkien Hobbit, that is a fan of potatoes.
Fry them, boil them, stick them in a stew. Potatoes.
Thank you, Claire.
Mr. Muggins.
Thank you, Claire, for our Lord of the Rings quote. No, I'm talking instead about the extinct hominin found on the Indonesian island of Flores, a bit closer to home. It's discovered in 2003 and believed to be a new species.
Mm.
Cool.
Now, I did use the word hominin there, which you're probably wondering what that is.
Because I would know them as hominids, not this hominin.
Hominin. Well, technically they are hominins. I think they come under hominids as well. But I'll try and get through. I get this confused. It is confusing. It is taxonomy.
Just break it down for us.
Okay. So we start off at the family hominidae, which is all the hominids, and that is your great apes. Okay, so it's a taxonomy group called a family, and includes all your great apes and humans. Yes, and humans. So it includes your humans. It includes your chimpanzees and your bonobos.
Oh yeah,
don't forget the bonobos.
Bonobo.
Includes gorillas, yep. Mm-hmm. And includes orangutans, which are in the genus Pongo.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fun fact.
Yep. So then below the family Hominidae, we have the subfamily Homininae, which basically we just lose the orangutans. So we have it's the other ones. It's
so the gorillas and humans?
The gorillas, humans and chimps, essentially.
Right.
And bonobos.
Bonobos are in the same, they're related to the chimps. They're closely related to the chimps. Cool. When we get to then beneath that, there's a couple of other sort of little groupings depending how deep you want to go. There's a hominini, which is a tribe. We lose the gorillas; they're not included in that, but that's in that is the humans and the chimps essentially. Hominini. Yep. The chimps are in the genus Pan, whereas humans are in the genus Homo, of course. Within hominini, there is a sub-tribe, if you really want to be specific, which is hominina. And that includes the Homo species. No, it doesn't. That's basically all it is in there. Is your Homo species. The above in the hominini, there was another one which is the Australopithecina.
Oh,
yeah, which is an extinct sort of grouping, and that's all your very archaic.
Neanderthals.
Yeah. No, Neanderthals are homos.
Oh,
yeah.
Are they?
Yeah.
Australopithecus afarensis.
I think it's...
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. So what we're interested in is we're basically just looking at the genus Homo essentially here, which is like you had your Homo erectus, you had Homo Neanderthal, whatever it was called, whatever the Denisovans were, and you had this other, what is believed to be another species, which is Homo floresiensis, which is kind of like, when it was discovered, it was very different. It was discovered outside of Africa. Basically, the other species arose in Africa. This has only been found outside of Africa, and it was quite different to the other species. And it's only been found on this one particular island. There's been controversy about it. Some people believe that it's not actually a separate species, that it's just, say, humans with various developmental disorders, just basically small human skeletons. And part of the reason for this is because of the age of the fossils. So they were found in a cave on the island of Flores. This cave is a limestone cave called Liang Bua. And they found a few skeletons. The complete one is called LB1 for Liang Bua 1. And it was found together with a whole lot of other sort of extinct creatures as well, including pygmy elephants.
Oh,
It was everything pygmy on this island?
Often,
it's like...
Sorry, yeah.
No, go on.
Like I say, often on islands you get a kind of a dwarfism due to being on an island.
Yep.
And so this elephant, it was not a modern type of elephant, it was a stegodon, which is an extinct sort of ancestor of elephants. And I don't know how big this one was. It's somewhere between, I couldn't find a reference to how big this one's actually was, somewhere between 300 and 800 kilos in size, which is
so
when you
about
compare
a cow.
Yeah, when you compare to an Asian elephant, which is 2,700 kilos roughly.
Wow.
According to the internet.
Were the hominins like aged at the same age as the pygmy elephant? Does that make sense?
Yeah, well, this is the thing. So to age it, they've been mostly looking at the sediments that they're buried in, and so they found a huge range in ages, and they found them basically some as young as 12,000 years ago, which was very surprising. So it basically implied very recent, implied that they were living alongside modern humans. And this is one of the big surprising things about this discovery. And then people started drawing all kind of conclusions saying, oh, this is the origin of legends of, little people and fairies and this kind of stuff.
Gulliver's Travels and all of that.
Yeah, well, they're a bit smaller, I think, the Lilliputians. But yeah, on kind of elves and dwarves and gnomes and that sort of things. So it was kind of a lot of people sort of reaching that sort of conclusions. But it was just a curious thing, why was this one particular small species and how do they survive so long with humans around? Now, they've gone back to the cave. They've gone back a few times and they've done a lot more analysis. And what they found is that the cave was not pristine, that there's been some erosion into the cave. And now they believe that the younger sediments that they got were all from some erosion on the north side of this cave. And when they do a proper analysis of the stratigraphy, the different layers of the sediments that have applied down, they found that all the actual fossils are in the lower layers of the sediment and are somewhere between, looking at my notes, about 100,000 and 50,000 years ago, basically, is what they are. So this is kind of much more in line with what we know about, I guess, the arrival of humans in the region. In fact, it's suspiciously similar to the arrival of humans in the region in that, we believe that Homo sapiens arrived in Australia, say around 50,000 years ago. They would have been going through Indonesia on their way to Australia. And you often find this pattern throughout the world that species seem to go extinct after Homo sapiens arrive. And that does seem to have happened perhaps with the hobbits on the island of Flores as well, that they survived for 100,000 years or so until modern humans arrived. Cool. So it's kind of a more consistent sort of evolutionary story in that sense. It doesn't say where they actually came from. It's possible that they evolved, say, from Homo erectus in Asia, and that's where they came from. We haven't got enough samples from other places to determine that or not.
And this is still the single only place that these fossils have been found.
Yeah, they've still only been found on the island of Flores. It would be nice to find other ones. Maybe like the elephants that shrunk in size when they got on the island. Maybe these ones were, say, a Homo erectus that then evolved on this particular island. Maybe they only lived on this island. We don't know yet until we find sort of where they came from or find their ancestors. But at the moment, we kind of have a more coherent story that, it looks like the humans wiped them out, which is
which is sort of devastating.
The same old story we find everywhere.
Yeah. Might have heard that there's been a big technological release this week in the world of vehicles. It is the unveiling of the new Tesla car, the Tesla Model 3.
So hang on, Tesla Model 3.
Yeah.
I mean, there's been two other ones.
There's been two other
So
ones.
why should we be excited about Tesla Model 3? Why is this such a big deal?
It is a big deal because I will tell you. It is the bringing of the electric car to the masses. But I'll just leave it there for the moment. And yeah, first of all, you guys would have heard of Tesla before. Not just the physicist Tesla, but the
Elon Musk's company.
Elon Musk's company, yeah. So Elon Musk is a mega personality, entrepreneur, billionaire. He's the guy behind PayPal.
Okay.
He sold PayPal he was the CEO of PayPal, and then it got taken over by eBay. They paid $1.4 billion for it.
Jeez.
Turned him into like a multimillionaire overnight. And since then he's sort of just been, you know, he's also responsible for SpaceX and all this sort of stuff. He's pretty out there.
He's some sort of cartoon character.
He's a little bit cartoon character-esque. And I've sort of like, I can't put my finger on why his name is so strange. And then I realized it sort of sounds like an African deer.
Yeah, I thought like
the Elon Musk
when
sounds
you
like a type
said
of
it-
deer.
You're right.
Yeah.
There's the Musk deer and there's the eland. Is a type of antelope.
Yeah. So it seems a bit deery. Maybe that's his spirit animal. I don't know.
Okay, fine.
Anyway, so yeah, as I said before, I'm not much into cars. In fact, I've only ever owned one car in my life, and it's a very generic Mazda that was passed down through
Generation to generation.
generations. Well, my two sisters owned it before I owned it.
Okay.
It's not exactly the greatest car ever. So yeah, there being a new car out isn't exactly something I would be into, especially as you say, the third car that a company puts out. Why is it so special?
Yeah.
But a colleague of mine, Ollie, he came into work the other day, and I could see that there was this real spark in his eye. He was very excited. And it wasn't long before he revealed why he was so excited. And it was all because of this Tesla Model 3. Now, according to Mr. Elon Musk, the deer man, this isn't any old car release. This is the car release that's going to change the world,
Right.
according to him. I mean, he's the multi-million.
He's the one who's selling it.
He's
He's
the one that's selling it.
So,
So, yeah.
so obviously a grain of salt should be taken here. So the reason for the hyperbole, the excitement, there's been, since it's been released, there's been 200,000 people who've put their name down with pre-orders.
Yeah. I read something like $10 billion in pre-orders or something
Yeah,
like that.
just crazy amounts of
Jeez.
people going crazy for this car. So this is the car that's going to push electric cars into the mainstream. And the way that it's going to do that is it is the first Tesla car that is actually somewhat affordable for, middle income earners. Its going rate is $35,000. So it's the cheapest Tesla car to ever go on the market.
Do you know how much the other Tesla 1 and 2 were?
Well, Tesla 1 was very expensive. Tesla 2 was a little bit more expensive. But so Elon Musk, the dear man, had a strategy, and I'll talk about the strategy in a second. But first of all, I know you want to know about the statistics on the car, because I had a lot of questions about this car. How they're going to make it, so cheap, and is it going to be comparable to petrol equivalents on the road? Now, the car has a lot of batteries. They're all lithium-ion batteries, sort of like the ones that are in your computer.
Oh, yeah.
Except they weigh close to 500 kilos. And there are more than a few of these that keep the Tesla 3 on the road. One of the previous models of cars had close to 6,500 batteries just to sort
Jeez.
of keep it on the road.
Be heavy, I imagine.
Yeah, super heavy. Yeah, 500 kilos worth of batteries alone.
That's about as much as a pygmy elephant, really, in just in batteries.
Batteries. And yeah, it provides a lot more energy density than the pygmy elephant as well.
Yeah?
Yeah. 4 to 5 times as much energy density than normal lithium-ion batteries. So there's a lot of energy that can be stored there.
So are we saying that like with previous cars, they measure their power in horsepower? We're going to measure them now in pygmy elephants. Is this the future of automotion?
The revolution.
Yeah, you heard it on Lost in Science first.
Yeah.
We are measuring the power of the electric car via extinct animals. I don't know how well that's going to sell,
petrol,
but
so.
yeah. Now, the car can drive for about 350 kilometers without recharging its
That's
large
a good
amounts
distance, yeah.
of batteries. Yeah, which sounds like quite a way. You can pretty much get all the way to the border to the top of Victoria if you live in Victoria.
Yeah, and you want to escape?
Without having to stop at a recharge station.
Then you're stuffed. Unless there's a recharge station in Albury, you're going to be stuffed. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night.
Yeah.
Yeah. In terms of how fast it goes, it boldly states that it can accelerate from 0 to 100 kilometers in under 6 seconds, which makes it super, like, a lot faster than my Mazda.
Don't even know what that means, but I was
It
imagining
sounds good though, doesn't it?
Superman.
Vroom! Except it doesn't go vroom because it's electric, so it just goes. And
alive.
it's and it's super safe. So it has like a 5-star safety rating on everything. Everything that you can throw at it, it's just like, no, I got 5 stars on that. Apparently, according to Tesla, that is.
And he'd know.
Yeah, but like you were saying, Manisha, what's really interesting, you were saying about the other cars, how expensive they were. What is really interesting is how Elon Musk has strategically planned how the company would release the cars. So initially, they released this luxury car that was squarely aimed at the richest of the rich, and they only had to sell a few of these at a really high price to sort of make quite a lot of profit. And the profits from that then went into funding the next car, which was more of a sports car, which still had a huge price tag, but was a little bit more affordable for the rich, not the richest of the rich. And then with the funds from that, they then went into the development for this, for the Model 3, which is,
and
the
next one's
electric
gonna be
car for the layperson.
And the next one's going to be a bicycle.
Or the price of a bicycle.
Yeah.
A car for the price of a bike. How lovely.
How lovely. Yeah. Yeah. They could have just
I
cut.
should be their business
just
planner, manager person, and make tons of money.
But I think it's interesting that Tesla have gone about it this way. I mean, they could just be making sports cars and making the same amounts of profits as they would, but they're scaling up and, Elon Musk obviously has this vision to accelerate the transition to sustainable transport. And that's pretty admirable, I think.
But it is a smart plan, though. Like, it's because he's made it luxurious, and then if it's a luxurious thing to own this car, then
you
and
build up
then
the
the
prestige. Yeah.
well, like then a middle-income earner can then own the car, and it's luxurious because they've got a Tesla car.
That's right.
Right,
From
that's a
like
good
that
point.
branding point of view,
Yeah.
it's like,
So he's pretty smart.
Yeah.
I want one.
Yeah.
But not for the reason.
Yeah, but from an environmental perspective, I mean, I guess an electric car is all well and good so long as you've got a carbon neutral electricity source.
Yeah. So
right?
again, in Australia, you're in trouble.
So in Australia, you're in trouble unless, so I hope we can see some sort of infrastructure around sort of solar panels to then that you can just sort of plug into your
Recharge them.
electric
Yeah.
car or something like that, rather than having to rely on, our regular coal-fired power plants, which would just
Yeah.
completely defeat the purpose of having
Exactly.
an environmentally sustainable car. You're listening to Lost in Science, and as we said in the introduction, we are very happy to have Manisha back from the field.
I'm back, people. Woohoo!
From the science field.
From the science field, from the world of science where you were doing a lot of experiments, you were doing your field work, getting up to all sorts of things. What I really want to know is what you were doing out there. What were you sciencing? And how did it all go?
So
Let's start with what you were sciencing.
So what was I sciencing? The last 4 months, I was trying to evaluate how bats, our little nocturnal mammally creaturey friends, how they respond to artificial nighttime lighting. So
Microbats or macrobats?
Microbats.
So they're the real little ones.
The
with
little
the
guys, the little
faces.
forest bats, not the flying foxes that you might be thinking of, but the little guys that live in small crevices and in trees and hollows and things like that. So the little guys, maybe you might have had them in your roofs. The little tiny guys.
I had pink bats in the roof. Is that the same?
No.
Different outcome.
Okay, different outcome.
Different outcome.
Anyways, so I was looking at how they respond to lights. So like lights at night, how we have a lot of urban lighting, street lighting, and our skylines are all lit up and things like that. So looking at how these bats respond to those sorts of lights.
Yeah. Right. So how far out of the city did you have to go and what did you take with you to sort of set up the experiments? Like how was it just you in a big truck or?
Kind of, yep. I had so out of the city, we weren't too far out of the city, about 150 kilometers out. And it basically what we took out there, so since I'm working with bats, and they're really hard to monitor just because, they're small and often very dark colors and
Come out at nighttime.
they come out at nighttime, and where we as humans are not all that great at seeing at nighttime without lights on.
They move fast.
Yeah. They move very quickly and they
they're
move
so silent.
They are quite silent. We can't hear what we can hear some of their calls, but for the most part we can't hear as they're echolocating. So it makes it a bit difficult to monitor bats. So to do so, we use specialized equipment called bat detectors, aptly named.
Yeah.
And basically these...
I think the same things are used in Gotham City.
Yeah. They run through the bat computer and
yeah.
do some bat analysis.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's all very high-tech and fancy and
Yeah.
stuff. But anyways, these bat detectors, they...
So what do? They change the frequency of the
calls. No,
stuff?
so when they're actually triggered by the ultrasonic noise. So any sort of ultrasonic noise, they're triggered by it. But they're programmed to pick up when there's a bat call, and it records it as a sound file. Or and then you can pull up those sound files on your computer, or you can see the call spectrum. So a spectrum is basically like how the frequencies over time. And you can see basically the pattern of the calls that were made. And each species has a unique call, or they're unique enough.
A unique sort of spectrum that you can see.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, right.
So a different sort of pattern and a different sort of frequency range, and they make different sorts of shapes as they're making their calls. And then so you can download your night's worth of detecting and then attribute the calls to the species that would have made it.
Okay.
Right. So you weren't actually collecting any bats. You were mostly just
so I wasn't actually
recording
trapping
the bats.
Yeah. I didn't trap any bats. I did just record their calls. And the idea is that where a bat is more active, there'll be more calls. So either they'll be echolocating a lot more, or sometimes we can even pick up when they're feeding. So you can tell the difference between a echolocation call and a feeding buzz, and you can really pick up on what sort of behaviors they're doing there.
What sort of things do they eat?
They eat insects. They are amazing pest control. Whenever people ask me when people ask me why bats are important, they eat like 2/3 or something of their body weight in mosquitoes.
Oh, wow.
And things like that. And I think in a night or in a course of a couple nights or something like that. And it's just, they're so good. They're eating all your mosquitoes and moths and all sorts of dragonflies and all of that. So all sorts of insects. So they're
Crickets? Or is it just the cricket bats that eat them?
maybe. Oh, jeez. Right over my head.
Such a bad joke, Chris.
Yeah. Carry on.
So while you were out there recording these bats, did anything weird happen to you? Did any bats fly into your head, or did you sort of like have any close encounters of the bat kind?
Ooh, of the bat kind?
or of any other kind.
I saw a tiger snake for the first time in my life, which is really cool. And I saw a other snake, but I'm not quite sure what it was, as I saw it slithering away from me into tall grass that I then did not proceed to go
That's
into.
wise.
Yep,
Especially after seeing a tiger snake.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it was a bit, I don't know if I was a bit scared or if I was just a bit stunned. Continued our work, just we're mindful of the fact that there's a snake there and we were not going to approach it.
Did you see much other wildlife?
Yeah, we saw tons and tons of kangaroos and wallabies. I think wallabies are probably my favorite thing ever. They're so cute. Saw lots of blue-tongued lizards. Saw tree frogs and a lot of insects, tons and tons of insects.
Yeah.
Okay.
Echidnas.
Yeah.
Saw a lot of really, really cool Australian wildlife. And for those of you that may have forgotten, I'm from Canada, so seeing all of that sort of thing nice up and close, it's really, really interesting.
Yeah.
Were there many of you out there?
So I worked with one other assistant. Mainly it was the same assistant throughout the field season, but I often had other undergraduate volunteers with me, and then over 2 weeks, once in December and once in January, I had 8 high school students helping me out there.
Oh, what fun.
Yeah, so it was in conjunction with Earthwatch, the Earthwatch Institute, and
Fantastic.
yeah, it was one of their student expeditions, and it was just had a lot of fun with the students. I was actually with both of my snake encounters happened with either one group or the other. So I blame the kids.
I would too.
As you do.
And did your experimental design and how you were sort of recording the bat calls change over the couple of months?
So it didn't really change. I was pretty standard with how I did my work, but the cool thing was that we went into habitat or areas that we knew that there was a lot of bat activity, and we installed lights. So for the actual experiment, we did kind of like a before, during, and after. And in the before phase, we just kind of got a baseline of how much activity was in the area. We installed lights and we had them on during the during phase. And then we turned the lights off after and try to monitor and see how long it might take for the activity to return to baseline levels.
This is all around roadways and like freeways and stuff,
Yeah,
isn't it?
exactly. Yep. So the overall theme of my PhD is to evaluate how roads impact bat activity, and with roads we have street lighting, which is where this work comes into play. And the areas that I was doing this work is out in the bush, so normally quite dark at night, so it's not an already lit area. So it was actually quite interesting to see how like the lights just looked really cool at night, and you can see them from the roadways and things like that. It was just really cool and really interesting.
Nice. Okay, so I assume that you have a lot of data from all this, and that what are you going to do with this data? What's the next phase of the research?
Oh, so well, yeah, I've collected a whole heap of data, and now we've got to analyze it. So the first thing I'll do is assign the species the same way I mentioned before, and then after that we'll do some analyses and figure out what the bats are doing and if the lights have any influence on their behavior.
Fantastic. Well, you can come back and tell us. Well, come back as much as you want, but you come back and tell us again when your paper's published and you've got some good results.
Yeah, I definitely will.
Awesome. Okay, that is it for this episode of Lost in Science. We've learned about bats, we've learned about electric cars, Claire's electric dreams, and we've learned about hobbits. Lost in Science, it is recorded at the studios of 3CR in Melbourne. It airs across Australia's community radio network with the support of the Community Broadcasting Foundation. We would love you to get in touch with us. Please email us at lostinsci@gmail.com and tell us about your favourite species of bat. You can tell us that, or you can just listen to us on Facebook. Or no, you can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Twitter. You can download our podcast, or you can listen to us on the radio next week, when Claire, Manisha, Stu, and Chris will get
Lost in Science.
Thanks for listening to a 3CR podcast. 3CR is an independent community radio station based in Melbourne, Australia. We need your financial support to keep going. Go to www.3cr.org.au for more information and to donate online.